everyone. And thank you for coming to our Mahwah Education Association Town Hall meeting. My name is Sue Dorsa, and I'm the president of our association. I'd like to personally thank you for coming and taking the time out of your busy schedule to attend tonight's meeting. I'd also like to thank your team members up here who spent countless hours preparing for tonight's meeting. Negotiations have stalled once again. This is the third time in 5 years that we started the year without a contract. And presently, we've been 10 months without a contract. Right now, I'd like to introduce our panel up here. We have John Snowden, Liz DeJean, Regina Guth, Andy Butel, Elizabeth Drosden, Chris Buser, and Ben Wagman. And we are going to start our PowerPoint presentation.
Yep. So like I said, thank you all for coming. Really the goal for tonight is just to inform you all about the state of education in Mahwah. We believe, should I just go, Chuck, or am I waiting on you to roll the PowerPoint?
Technology.
I'll just start. We believe this is a great district. Not just a great district, an excellent district. The board motto and the motto on our district homepage is a school district with an excellent reputation for excellence in education. And we really are just that. And really, we tonight just want to tell you about some of the changes we see happening in this district. We still believe it's great, and our merits and accolades show that. We are a high-ranking school district. We had all sorts of different, oh, here we go. Now you can see what I'm kind of talking about here. Are you guys good now?
Yeah, we're good.
All right, so you can roll into like slide 3 or 4 to the merits. There we go. So we're a high-ranking district as reported nationally. New Jersey is consistently one of the highest-ranking states for public education, and Mahwah is consistently at the top there. So really, your kids are in a great place, and we have dedicated our professional careers to educating your kids to the best that we can. Our PARCC scores exceeded state averages, as you can see on this next chart. All you have to know is Mahwah is the blue. And so at every grade level, 3 through 11 for the English language arts and the math, we well exceeded the state averages. In terms of extracurriculars, we're also going above and beyond. We've had achievements in sports. Chuck, you go to the next one. Achievements in sports and mock trial, future problem solvers, academic decathlon, coaches of the year, all sorts of things. And us as teachers, as MEA members, really take pride in that. But of course, we do that as a union as well as individual teachers. Do you want to pick up here?
I surely will. Good evening, everybody. So, there's our intrepid leader, Sue Dorsa, selling mums on Mahwah Day. And we have a long-standing tradition of community involvement in the township of Mahwah. And as Andy said earlier, we fully believe that this district is an excellent district, which is why over the many years that we've been here, we have dedicated our time, we've dedicated our professionalism, we've dedicated our spirit, we have a lot of pride in our district, we've dedicated our extra time, our voluntary time, time away from home, time away from family. And yes, we've even dedicated our own money in our efforts to support the Mahwah schools. Chuck? So two particular philanthropic activities that we're especially proud of is our association, a branch of our own association called MASO, and that acronym stands for the Mahwah Assistance and Scholarship Fund, organization, pardon me. And MEA members, we donate monies, as we have over the years, for the sole purpose of providing and awarding educational scholarships to our graduating seniors, those who qualify. Typically, we have awarded scholarships to those Mahwah High School graduates who were pursuing a career in education. So that's appropriate, right? And then over the years, we've tweaked that somewhat to reflect changing times and different educational opportunities. So each year, we donate in excess of, or approximately about $5,000 a year in terms of scholarships. And that's always made us feel incredibly proud of the fine work that we do here in Mahwah. And for a number of years now, we've had a fine partnership with the Mahwah Schools Foundation. And in addition to, again, the donating of monies, $80,000 approximately since this partnership began, MEA members themselves have volunteered, again, their time. One of our, I suppose one of our cornerstone events has been to participate in the Mahwah Run. Yep. And many of our own staff members have volunteered to work the event. Many of our staff members have participated in the event as runners, walkers, timers, etc. It's really a great day. It's not always so great at 5 o'clock in the morning when you're setting up in Darlington and it's cold and dark, but the day it's just a great day overall, and we've always been very proud to participate in that event. Thanks, John. So, with that being said, and on behalf of the MEA, I'd like to share with you our perception of the state of affairs in Mahwah schools. We have been observing with a very careful eye, eyes and ears wide open. We've been attentive to the changes that we see happening slowly but surely in our district. Not only at the local level, to be fair and to be honest, but also at the state level as well. And we believe that some of these changes, many of these changes in fact, are beginning to threaten or jeopardize the excellence of our school system. And we, the career educators, the extra support personnel, secretaries, custodians, everybody involved. Pardon?
Bus driver.
Bus drivers, school nurses, paraprofessionals, as a whole, we're beginning to see somewhat of a decline, if you will. And the fact that we feel so deeply and we care so deeply about this district that, well, essentially, we understand, or our point of view is, that the way things are going these days, at the state and the local level, elected officials are trying to turn education into something that it's not. Trying to turn education into something more along the lines of a corporation or a business. And we reject this principle. Andy?
Yeah, and as Regina said, a lot of what we're going to talk about isn't just happening in Mahwah. It's happening all around the state of New Jersey. And a lot of this stuff really started about 5 years ago. And not, coincidentally, when Governor Christie was elected. And came in with an agenda of really changing the way public education is structured and funded, and the way public employees, are paid and compensated just generally. And so it started with the 2% property tax increase cap. And the goal was, of course, to reduce the very high property taxes in New Jersey. Of course, as you know, our property taxes, and I'm a homeowner too, still go up. But what it risks is the quality of the services that we provide in each town going down. And that's what we started to see. In 2011, the Chapter 78 legislation particularly affected us because it changed the way we were compensated. It mandated, superseded the collective bargaining process. Health benefits, salary, time, these were always negotiable items. With Chapter 78, health benefits were now non-negotiable. And over a 4-year period, starting in 2011, it increased the contributions, the mandated contributions on public employees for health benefits. So that, combined with an increase in the pension contributions, has really altered the way that teachers are compensated. Similarly, 2012, there was a reform to the tenure law. Now, of course, we all want great teachers in the classroom, but what might be good in districts that are maybe low performing might not be good in a district that's very high performing. And so what some of these laws have done at the state level has really negatively affected the way teachers in high performing districts kind of do their day-to-day job. So, Virginia, did you want to talk about on the local level, or do you want me to keep going?
It's okay. I'm just going to switch over to this side. Down this side of the room. So, as Andy said, a lot of these changes occurred around the time that Governor Christie came into office. And so not only are we dealing with changes at the state level that we're not really happy about, but we also find that this has been happening in many districts across the state, pretty much so many of the districts, where they are following suit, okay? And so we got to thinking, well, how have things changed? In the 5 years or so that Christie's been in office, and the various variations of the Board of Education have been servicing the school district. And so we got to thinking about, the then and now piece. What was it like then, and how is it now? Okay? So, I've been on the negotiations team, I think, since the early 1990s. Okay? So I've got a pretty good history in my mind about how things used to be when it came to negotiating in this district. Okay? And back in the day, so to speak, and okay, yeah, it's only about 5 years ago, but things were much better. Okay? There was much more of a cooperative approach to negotiations. The way that the conversation was much more respectful. Okay? And of course, we didn't always agree with each other, the Board of Education and the Mahwah Education Association. But guess what? We always had the interests of the kids in mind. And we also understood that we had a responsibility to move forward in the process. And so, we worked very hard to settle contracts in a timely manner. Okay? Back in the day, it's almost a catchphrase when you think about Mahwah, that we had superintendents who used to serve on the Board of Education, and just in the day-to-day affairs of the school district. We're a family was the message. And we bought into that because we felt that. We did feel that this was a district of excellence. We felt it, we believed it, and in 2016, please go back, Chuck. In 2016, we have lost that loving feeling, okay? And it makes me very sad to know this, because now there seems to be a mindset in the district, and not on the part of the MEA, that we are moving in this direction of something more like corporate, more like we're a business, which of course we're not. We're not a business, we're a non-profit service industry. Okay?
And I think just to add on, I think what Regina's talking about, when contracts were negotiated, it was, all right, what's in the best interest of the kids? What works for both sides? We all had the same common goal, and now we kind of feel like, we're just a number. We're a number to be reduced, a labor cost to be reduced.
It's all about numbers now, which we'll talk about in just a moment. These days, as Sue pointed out at the beginning of this presentation, we've been working since June under an expired contract, okay? But, Chuck, you're killing me, man. But the tone, the attitude is not respectful. It is not, in our opinion, cooperative. It has been adversarial. It has been contentious. For the first time, at any time that I've been serving on the negotiations team, we had to file an unfair labor practice. The hearing is next week. negotiations chairperson on behalf of the Board of Education, behaved in an inappropriate manner, and so we find ourselves having to address that. And we'll address it at the state level next week, okay? Like I said earlier, our goal was to settle contracts in a timely manner. That went out the window when Christie came into office, and boards of education across the state dug their heels in, waited to see what the governor would do, and that's when the whole thing came to a grinding halt. Folks, this is the third time in 5 years that we have started a school year without a contract. That is unacceptable. It's not good for your children.
And that's really kind of the big point here, that we want to show you how these things that are ostensibly happening to us are really impacting your children. And so it's in a number of ways. Chuck, if you want to go to the next slide. One way is certainly the instruction. And again, this is something that really started at the state level. Standardized testing has been with us for a long time. But the increase, the scale at which it's now interrupting the instruction, the day-to-day experience of your kids in school is really taking over. NJS, it was 4 days, it was a few days. It was, of course, data was important. It was used as a tool to help us better teach your kids. Now with PARC, it's all-consuming. Right now at the middle school, the 6th grade is testing. It's changing all the other student schedules. That's going on for 6 days. Then the 7th grade is going to test for 6 days, interrupting every other grade schedule. Then the 8th grade is going to test for 6 days, interrupting every other kid's schedule. So it's about a month of instruction that's really not normal, all to meet different state mandates. And this is kind of what Virginia was talking about when she's talking about the creeping in of the corporate mentality in education. These are privatized tests, privatized companies making money off your kids taking a test. And it's really affecting us at the local level. Chuck, you want to go to the next one?
I also want to just mention this one little brief thing. In your kids' schools, thank you. Literally, there are places within the buildings that are being held hostage, for lack of a better word, where kids cannot use libraries for 3 weeks because testing is set up. And, it's just, of course, each work site is unique, and each work site has its own dynamic. But in addition to the interruption of schedules and the reduction of about a month's worth of instruction, we got to deal with that as well. So you're limited. What lessons you are able to prepare, you're limited in what you can really do. That's okay. Oh, this is me too. Yeah, okay. So we'll just keep talking. All right, so back to this idea about, the change over the last several years. So, I'm a middle school teacher. I've been at Ramapo Ridge for 30 years. I currently teach the 7th grade. And so, in particular, here's a big important change that has impacted all the middle school kids in the township of Mahwah. We have the teaming model at the middle school, which is amazing. It's a great model for adolescents, a lot of one-on-one interaction with teachers. We had at one time 3 teams at each grade level. You had the Ramapo team, the Ridge team, and the Pride team. Awesome. Well, about a year or 2 ago, right? They started to cut back on the staff that they needed to run the teaming program that we've had in place. And so they've eliminated an entire team from the 6th grade program. This year, they eliminated an entire team from the 7th grade program. And folks, I'm sure you can guess what's going to happen next year for the 8th graders. All right? We see that as a tremendous loss at the middle school level. Okay? Of course, if you go back several years, there was an increase in the student population. Yay! And that led to increased staffing. Now, we were told, oh, there is a reduction. There are less children entering the school district. And our understanding was, well, that would be the incoming students at the primary level. Why did they eliminate an entire team last year, it was, in our opinion, a little premature. We feel there wasn't enough data to support that, and so, unfortunately, teachers, other staff members were let go. It's known as being RIFT, and RIFT stands for a reduction in force. It was unnecessary at that time. Okay? Back in the day, you had people, again, I'll use myself as an example. Like I said, I've been here 30 years. I'm so happy that I've been in one district for this length of time. I have lived most of my adult life in Mahwah, and I'm proud of it. All right? My longevity, my loyalty has been here. In this day and age, I hate to report this, but it's becoming more truthful that there is an increasing trend in what I call out-of-district flight. People looking at the state of affairs in Mahwah, in New Jersey, and they're saying, I can't wait to retire early. Bye-bye, and off they go. Seasoned, veteran professionals that, depending on what grade your children are in, they may never get the opportunity to work with those people because they left early. We have people who are reconsidering their entire career, looking for employment outside of public education. Why? The stress and strain of working under all of these changes. Why? The potential to make more money in other avenues. We have people who are making lateral moves, who are remaining in education, but they look in other districts where perhaps the relationship between Board of Ed, admin, faculty, perhaps, something more like what it used to be in Mahwah. Okay? And one other thing I'd like to mention for our non-tenured members, again, for as long as I can remember, people worked when they came into this district. They were put on tenure track. They worked hard. They received a lot of mentoring, not only from their mentor teacher, but received a lot of supervision and mentoring and support from their supervisors and their principals. And pretty much, unless there was something really off base, people got their tenure. Yay! Nowadays, there's an inclination to, how to save money. How do we save money? Well, we got to let people go before they earn their tenure. And of course, the tenure law changed. Now, you need 4 years. Before it was 3. Okay? But people are being let go before they get the chance to earn tenure. And I can't tell you how the impact that has on, not only on the individual who is being let go, but on the faculty in that school. I've said goodbye to too many people in the last 5 years for all of these reasons. High quality, professional people. We need to hold on to those people in this district if we want to maintain a district of excellence. Andy?
Yeah, and it's not just staffing. I mean, this attempt to save money has also led to a lot of cuts in different programs. From elementary programs, cutting world language teachers to use videos to teach foreign languages. Enrichment programs like LEAP were canceled.
Okay.
At the middle school, a whole bunch of different programs were canceled all a few years ago. The sports program, most notably. The home arts program. We had a cycle class eliminated this past year because of some of the teachers we lost as we reduced from 3 teams to 2, like Regina was talking about. And so this has led to an increase in our class sizes. And again, we kind of feel like this is there's this mentality that, well, we're replaceable. Class size doesn't really matter. We can just kind of plug anyone in and they can do the job. And again, as people who have kind of really dedicated our lives to providing the best education we can to your children, we find that a little insulting. At the high school too, a number of different clubs were eliminated, and also that home arts program.
Okay, thank you, Andy. So as I mentioned a moment ago, you know, the idea that the teachers that your children work with day in and day out, okay? So many of these changes have had an impact on our morale, yes? Before, spirited, optimistic. People were happy to work above and beyond. We attended football games. We didn't just go to one dance. You chaperoned multiple dances. It was fun. You know, teachers spent time in the community, cat in the clubhouse. I mean, the list is very, very long. There was a willingness and a desire to provide lots of extra help before school, after school, during lunch. Awesome. Children benefited immensely from their interactions with their teachers outside of the classroom. Now, well, when the staff feels undervalued, unappreciated, they become discouraged, starting a school year without a contract, too many times. You know, it's just, you don't have that same, oof. Yes, of course, we're professionals. We continue to do our job, but, you know, maybe we don't have as much time to spend with the children outside of the classroom. People have to work second jobs. I know several individuals who have 3 jobs, you know, and they are thinking, I can't do all of this. My own family. I got to think about my own family, my own children. And so there seems to be some reduced attendance at some of these co-curricular, extracurricular functions.
And just to interrupt, there's an example just this week. Sports night at the Ridge was canceled just today for tomorrow's event. Sports night for years used to be this biggest event of the year. Teachers would sign up. Teachers would play kids. Every kid in the school would be there. It was awesome. And
grand.
Now we can't get enough teachers to sign up. We can't get enough kids to sign up. The kids kind of feed off this too, and they're really losing something. And so while we're, of course, still being professional and doing our best to provide a great education for your children, these things all together definitely start to take a toll. And as Regina started talking about, this is the financial reality. It's not us complaining. Again, we feel incredibly fortunate and proud to work in this district. But this is the financial reality. More and more teachers are taking on multiple jobs. Whether it's an extra coaching position or extra stipend position through the district or other positions outside of the school, tutoring, and just, again, other random part-time jobs to kind of make up for that loss. Because the combination of these continuously stalled contracts, you know, frozen on pay from a year or so ago, plus the hit on the health benefits, we need to make up that money somewhere. My wife's a teacher, so I'm kind of feeling doubly hit by this. Chuck, you want to go to the next one? So just to kind of explain this, here's an example of a teacher in our district. He's been here 30 years. In terms of his health benefits, and health benefits are scaled the way that it works. So basically, you pay a percentage of your health care premium based on your salary, okay? And so the higher percentage is, if you have a higher salary, you pay a higher percentage of the premium. And your premiums, of course, change whether you're a single person, you and a spouse, or you and a family. So in this case, it's a teacher with a spouse on the health coverage. So you can see how much less he's taking home each year. So the amount less from his take-home pay because of the health benefit contribution. And so this year he's paying about $10,000.
And pension contributions.
Yes, and pension contributions. So all told, over 5 years, it's about $28,000 in lost take-home pay.
After taxes.
If you want to go to the next one. And so this is kind of broken down. It's another teacher, 24 years experience. This is a family plan. Okay, so in 2011, when these health contributions first started, it was about $1,200 a year. Okay, now it's about $11,000 a year. So that's annually, each year, that teacher is taking home about $10,000 less. And so I hope you can understand why we feel the need to then have to make up this money elsewhere and, you know, have to cut back in other ways. Gina?
Yeah. So we're nearing the end of our presentation here, so there are some things that really bear repeating because they're so important to us, okay? We, the MEA, do fear. We don't have a crystal ball. can't predict the future, but we have this growing sense, this growing concern that Mahwah is in danger of losing this reputation, this hard-earned reputation for excellence, one of the best schools in Bergen County and in New Jersey. But we do feel we are taking a different direction, and it's not the way we want to go. We're thinking that maybe we will be developing a reputation for not settling contracts in a timely manner. That would be unfortunate. We feel we're developing a reputation for saving money, perhaps over wholeheartedly supporting teachers and students. And we feel that we might be developing a reputation for viewing teachers as they can be replaced. And that's unfortunate, you know.
So we kind of just feel like it's a pretty simple fix. A Board of Education should support teachers. Education functions best when teachers and parents and boards of education are all kind of working towards the same goal, which is educating your children. Research shows consistently that the #1 in-school factor that affects a child's education is their teachers. The #1 out-of-school factor is their parents. So it stands to reason that working together, you know, we can help your children do the best they possibly can. And we just don't understand why there would be a Board of Education that kind of stands in the way of that and isn't helping us as opposed to kind of impeding progress. And so really we fear that, again, you know, we're having this conversation now, not 2, 3, 4 years from now when things get really bad. We feel like we're at a crossroads right now where we see the trend going in the wrong direction, but it's not quite bad yet. You know, as shown by our merits, our park scores, everything, we're still a high-performing district, and we just want to keep it that way.
Absolutely.
And so we really need your help in order to do that. Let's Chuck, you want to go to the next one? And so, you know, what can you do? Next one. Sorry. We need to reach out to the Board of Education. Charles Saldarini is the chairperson of the board negotiating team. He's one of the VPs. Email him, ask him questions. Next Wednesday is a board meeting, 7 p.m. at the board office. We really, really would like parents to go. We go to these meetings, we speak. I feel like they're kind of tired of hearing us say the same things. We're hopeful that if we have you, the parents, you know, who elected these people, and remind them that they are elected officials and they represent you, we want them to hear from you and you to let them know if they're representing you accurately and effectively. And if you feel like this isn't how a board should operate, we want you to let them know that. So writing to them, calling them, attending board meetings, writing letters to the editors, the Suburban, the Record, the Patch, all of these things would be a great help.
You know, the Mahwah negotiations team has always operated under the premise that you negotiate in good faith. I'm very proud to tell you that that's always how we've operated, okay? We need to arrive at a fair and reasonable contract as soon as possible, all right? So that we can provide that wonderful education, that support, that relationship with your children. And if you help us out by coming to next week's board meeting or contacting the Board of Ed members, here are all their contact numbers.
By the way, you can, sorry to interrupt, you can get this information on the district homepage. If you just go to the Mahwah homepage, click Board of Education, all this pops up.
Absolutely. So we need you to write letters perhaps to the editor, Suburban News, what have you. Whatever you can do. Simply put, just pick up the phone and make an inquiry, ask a question. Whatever involvement you can afford us would be deeply appreciated.
All right, and that's really, that's about it for our presentation. This part right now is really question and answers. And if we can't answer something for you, we have friends here who are willing to take your information. We will get back to you. Any questions? Now.
Floor is open, folks.
Floor is open.
I've been in town for 4 years, and obviously I've noticed every year the pins on your shirt. Have you ever had a contract, or were they one-year contracts or retro contracts? What was the
What we did last year is that we settled a one-year contract, because what happened with Chapter 78 is that you couldn't negotiate health benefits until you reached Tier 4 and finished a contract. So we negotiated a one-year contract, so then we were able to now start negotiating health benefits. That's really been our crux that we need to do, because of you seeing the amount of money that's been lost. So that's why we did a one-year contract last year. And we've been trying to negotiate health benefits. And just again, it's been 10 months.
Are you on the state plan with the health benefits?
Yes, we are on the state plan, yes.
I just want to make a suggestion. I don't think that a lot of people understand what it means when when you don't have a contract. And having had worked at a university that had contracts where you had lots of different unions, it really means that your pay do not go up. When you settle the contract, it generally does not mean that you're going to get back pay. You do not get increases for the increase in the life expenses, whatever that yearly thing is. So people need to understand that you are paying more for health benefits, but under your contracts, you don't necessarily get back pay, and yet you are, because it's that 5-year plan for the health plan, the percentage increases. A lot of people, when they hear it, perhaps just to help increase understanding in Mahwah, what it really means for 3 years not to have the contract, and what it means for your expenses. A lot of us, people, when you work in a corporate, you don't get to deal with those things, and you just don't have experience in understanding it.
Right.
If you can help share some examples, so people can feel it naturally, and understand what is the burden for it. Because I have a kindergarten, and she has an excellent teacher, and I'm extremely happy that she has an experienced teacher. I talk with friends, and they have 20-something-year-old teachers. And it's excellent to have and bring in new teachers. I'm an education field. So really, you have to be mentored to the process, but you need to have mentors.
Yes.
And child experience is one with a 20-something-year-old and with a 40-year-old. And being an older mom, I appreciate all the teachers.
Well, just to address your point, so to the second point, unfortunately, because of some of these things, what we've seen is a loss of our older teachers, our experienced teachers, leaving before they were planning to retire.
I hope you think I'm coming.
Experienced is better than old.
Sorry.
Veteran, seasoned, experienced.
But to your other point, the reality of the state reforms and the local contract disputes has basically meant that the majority of us are taking home less money each year, because our raises, when we get them, aren't even at the cost of living, and then the health benefit contributions are going up. So on paper, we may be getting a negligible raise, but the take-home pay is less. Yeah. No, I know. I want to just make that point clear. Yeah.
And that's really what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, I've lived in Mahwah for over 20 years. I'm a recently retired nurse. I was very active in the nurses union in the past hospital, and I want to congratulate you on the courage that you are showing to stand up and speak to the community and put together such a great presentation. And I want to offer support to you, because I think that in the last 5 years, under Chris Christie, teachers have been scapegoated and treated extremely disrespectfully. And I think that a community like Mahwah has an excellent school system, and to have a governor who has continually put taxes and economics against teachers is really a detriment to our state. And I think that the fatigue, the burnout that you're kind of describing starts at the top of the state. And as someone who's lived in Mahwah, I know that in the past there were no contract problems. The contracts were signed with grants, and the agencies always have a problem with their contracts. And it's, I came tonight because I feel like what's going on? It used to be peaceful here, and I'm not happy to understand what the government is saying. Unfortunately, it has started at the top here in the state and it's got to stop.
Thank you so much.
You mentioned in your presentation the impact of the PARC testing on instruction and scheduling. How is the community, or is the community supporting opposition? Are they knowledgeable about the testing? Do you have an opt-out sequence going on? And what are you hearing from parents in terms of the impact of PARC testing?
Yeah, so it's a really precarious position for teachers to be in, to organize against PARC. Obviously, it's part of our job to administer these tests. So much of the way that teachers have been kind of organizing against this is following the lead of parents. Districts where the opt-outs have been the highest have been where parent organizations have really led the charge in doing this, and teachers have kind of supported this really more as parents opting their own kids out, as opposed to really telling their students, hey, don't take this test. We really kind of need to walk a fine line. So while we personally see the detrimental effects of PARC in terms of its interruption in instruction, we can't really tell our students, hey, this doesn't matter, don't take this test. We also want to keep our jobs. So.
And I did get an email from the president of the Board of Ed, who's opting her child out of the PARC. So we're supporting it as we can. We did last year a movie screening of down in Hackensack that talked about the PARC screening, and we offered it to all parents to go to that to see what it was about. So it is a fine line that we walk with it.
Yeah, I wasn't really speaking about your opposition to it. I was asking, how knowledgeable do you feel the parent community is about the impact of the PARC testing?
That's a tough one to call.
Okay.
Really is. I mean, going to the Board of Ed and listening to, to their speeches and about PARC, I mean, it's, we really don't know how well the parents are knowledgeable about the PARC testing.
About the scheduling, from one year to the next, it's already changed, and it will probably continue, if it remains in effect, it will probably continue to be tweaked, But
Let's talk now about high school graduation being attached to it. I think it's important that the parents also understand that, because you're starting to see in some of the trends with some of the towns that parents believing that the teachers are behind the PARC and standardized testing. And I can tell you as a language arts teacher that couldn't be further from the truth. The Common Core is actually not common. Most states don't use it. Most states don't use the PARC. We view that every student learns differently, that every student is entitled to an education where we have the flexibility to work with them. And if you look at some of the nations around the world who are surpassing us in education, none of them follow that policy of standardized testing. None of them handcuff the teachers. They put the responsibility on the teachers to reach the students any way possible. And that's what, we have been fortunate in this district that, I see Kathy even, I've been here for 13 years and I've seen a change, a big change. And I was today hearing the announcement that sports night was canceled. That to me, part of the reason why I selected Mahwah was because of that idea of family that she had talked about when I was with Stu Sulkin. And he said, look, this district, we may not be able to pay you the same as others, and I didn't get into this business to make money. But what he said is we're a family and we take care of each other. And that when you come here, you will not regret it. And I got to tell you, my first 7 years that I worked here, it was the best job I've ever had. I met some of the most informative and the best teachers just in the world. And there's a reason why. We're not good. We are not great. We are elite. We are the top 3% in one of the best states in the entire union, and we are ranked nationally top 3%. And unfortunately, we are not treated that way. And it isn't fair. And I can tell you that my students 7 years ago, even though I knew less and I was less experienced, were getting better educations because I had more flexibility to work with them. So yes, the park is part of our atmosphere. It is part of what we have to do. And you know, it is that slippery slope. We can't say, hey, opt out, but understand this, that we are trying everything in our power to make sure that we are not a test prep factory, that we do, you know, justice and service to your kids, because your kids mean the world to us. That's why we got into this. We didn't get into it to fight with boards of eds. You know, it was, the design of a school board was never to be adversarial. It was for us to work together for the betterment of the kids. And I can tell you that some of the board members, their kids, they had a lot of the perks that your kids don't have. You know, they had middle school sports. They had home economics. They had wood shop. They had, teachers being able to volunteer their time. I work 2 jobs now. I would love to be able to go out and volunteer and do more. Unfortunately, I've taken a pay cut the last 7 years. And it would be one thing if we were okay. We are elite. And part of that is because of your kids. And you've done a great job with them. This has been a hard year teaching. But I will say this, I have never enjoyed myself more in the classroom than I have this year. And Mahwah kids, they're just the best. They really are.
Thank you, Joe.
There you go.
You have 2 hands up?
Go ahead.
So pardon my ignorance, I haven't been to a Board of Ed meeting yet. I did go to the debates, and I was also very disappointed in the turnout. So I want to do everything I can to spread the word about this. I think a lot of our parents didn't understand the flyer that they saw and didn't know what tonight was going to be about. I'm wondering if there's a way to make your PowerPoint presentation available.
I think that's something we can do.
Yeah, for sure.
And my question is, so as we write to the Board of Ed members, I don't know if you can say, besides Balderini, are there specific ones we should be targeting, or is it all of them? And if the money isn't going to you guys, where do they want it to go, so we can advocate what we think is a better choice?
Let's take that one.
I'll take it. A couple
Great question.
The money that's going, every June, the board in the last 6 to 7 years, Bill, has transferred over about $1 million into an excess fund that they use for, maintaining the schools, which they need to do.
Is this the capital?
Capital
That, yes.
So that can be used for.
It can't be used for negotiations. But, our question is to the board, why are you transferring over well over $1 million? You have 6, 7, right now,
Almost
7,
eight.
8 million
Approaching 8 million.
in an account. Just the interest on that, that's a lot of money. And we really believe as a team that some of that money does not need to be transferred over into that. It could be used to help settle the contract and stop this nonsense. And it's all board members that you can write to.
Yes, but specifically, it would be Mr. Salverini, Mr. Gallo, Mr. De Silva, and, am I missing?
I'll put it back up.
Yeah.
There you go.
Those are
Mr. D'Angelo.
the board members who serve on their negotiations team. Gallo, De Silva, Salverini,
And D'Angelo.
And deal.
and D'Angelo, pardon me.
Yes.
Since you've been without a contract for 10 months now, are you now working with the state mediator?
Yes, we are. We are going into, it's called formal fact-finding. We have an appointment May 2nd. So at that point, we'll meet with the mediator and the board. The board gathered up a whole bunch of things that the mediator needed, including their budget, and now the NJEA and the mediator will go through everything, and we'll sit down again on May 2nd to go through. But anything that we have is non-binding. So, the mediator might say, there's enough money for the board to pay you. There's, it doesn't mean that they have to listen to that. Or the mediator may say, MEA, you have to just kind of let it go, and we don't have to listen to that. So it's tough. And basically, we should be able to work as a group. I mean, it's a community.
So you basically lost a year.
Yes.
If I could just follow up with that, on the Suburban News on March 24th, I imagine Suburban kids that had me or have heard about me. Hopefully most of it's good and most of it's true. But it's always been a passion of mine. It's passion starting to change what I started to look at it as just a job. And I think it does stick. And it just, you get worn out after a while. Going 3, 4, 5 times without contact, it's just wearing us out. We're feeling the stress. I've never been, right, this year I've seen more and more unhappy or less happy people than we used to. It's not like we're not happy, but we're just not as happy. We still enjoy our job, but then I felt the spur of the news. I'm going to quote, and this is March 24th, Trustee Charles Alberini said any significant breakthroughs are unlikely before the next mediation session on May 2nd. The district will not waver from the offer presented to you on July 24th. Where is negotiation? How do you negotiate when he's saying he's not going to waiver? It's like, here's my offer, and 2 months later, oh, here's my same offer, and 3 months later, oh, here's my same offer.
And that's what we're dealing with.
There's also a belief that it's their money. You know, this is what they're holding on to. You got to remember that I'm more concerned with, we had a reservoir of young teachers. Mahwah was set for the next 20 to 30 years. We had a great group of teachers who led the way. Mahwah was not always this successful. It was not always this district. But I can tell you this, when I came in, you just had teachers who took you under your wing and they built from the ground up what is an elite district. And I have watched that reservoir of talent that Mahwah should be able to, we should be coasting for the next 20 or 30 years with the best of the best. And they're leaving. And it used to be they would leave to go to administrative jobs. They didn't really, I know these people and I'm friendly with them, so I can tell you personally, they weren't enamored with being an administrator because they wanted to work in the classroom, but it was a pay increase. Now we're seeing people who are forfeiting tenure just to get out. Whether it's they're quitting the job or they're going to other districts and saying, I'd rather start over than be here. And what's happening is that you have people on this board who enjoyed all the perks that this district had, that were elite, with all those benefits that you saw up there, and they're gone now. And it's not saving you money in your taxes, it's not doing, all that's happening is going into a fund that they can't use. I don't know why you put money into a fund that you don't have full access to, but whatever. And we are losing these young teachers. And now, with the teaching shortage that is hitting New Jersey, because after 5 or 6 years of seeing what it's like to be a teacher, these young kids, they don't want to go into education. And the foundation of every civilization is the advancement of its youth. If you don't have your best and brightest in education, you go backwards. History has shown it time and time again. And we are starting to go backwards. In Mahwah, it's not too late. It's getting close, but it is not too late. And some of that talent that we lost, maybe we can start getting it back again, but my fear is if we don't correct the situation, not only are we not going to replace that young talent, we're going to lose some of our veterans. They're not going to stay around for forever. And that's when you will see a free fall. And the people who are responsible for that free fall, they don't care. It's done.
Yes. Go ahead.
She's my friend. I'm a retired teacher, actually. And I'm looking at, and I know I put Laura down, we have the same, very similar issues, much smaller districts. But what we should try to do is find like somebody on our board who sympathizes with us. And sometimes I think it could be better. I don't think you're going to get anywhere with Mr. Salverini, what you just read from Mr. Salverini. I don't think you're going to get very far. He's going to go even and believe me, please. But maybe if there were a few names on there, hopefully, that you could give us who are sympathetic. I'm hoping, I know there are some new board members finally, and I'm hoping some of them are more sympathetic to the cause.
We are too.
And I'm hoping you could give us a name or two, because that might be.
Curry.
Yeah, okay. So
Davis.
that's probably another way to go about it, is
Right.
get those people to fight with each other behind closed doors.
And Mrs. Davis
Davis, okay.
and
Miss
Mrs. Curry,
Barron. And Mrs. Barron.
Mrs. Barron.
Curry, Davis, Barron.
And even Denise. Even
The ones
Denise.
not,
who are not negotiating.
as we said,
But they're not, but they probably still have a little bit.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
that they can put some pressure on, hopefully. Okay, that's
Yeah.
speak up and wait in line and tell the board how you feel.
Right. I think somebody said before that I saw on Facebook, a lot of people didn't really understand what this meeting is for. So I think if you express somehow that everyone, if they really want to support their teachers, they need to come out Wednesday, because maybe if they see parents,
Yeah.
you know, they may realize, because maybe they don't see parents, so they don't think anyone cares, but everyone cares, and we appreciate the teachers.
They just want to push their agenda.
You know, yeah, so.
Yeah, and we appreciate that, and, you know, we will. This is the first time we've done a town hall meeting. You know, we're just trying different things to get the message out there that we need help.
Now, like, I learned a lot tonight, so, you know, it makes me sad.
It makes us very sad. You know, you came to Mahwah for the schools.
Right.
And, you know, what are they doing with all the money? And for the person in charge, Salverini, I went to school with his son years ago, to be so against the teachers and not be so supportive about the education and the great thing that you guys have done in the district really makes me sad, because we elect these people for a reason, you know?
Right.
And we elected you in good faith, and you're just basically saying we're done. It's a collaborative effort to work on the contract, and year after year, I see you don't get a contract, and that just, it really makes, I know a lot of parents really
Well,
upset. So.
just a heads up, Charles Salderini is up for re-election in November.
Yeah.
Just keep that in mind.
Say that again.
Probably time for one or two more questions. Yes. Yes.
I just want to say, first of all, this is my first experience with public schools. I have two older daughters that went all through Catholic schools, and I have a big space with my kids, and I have to say, Mahwah is phenomenal. You had, of course, you had Carolyn, back in George Washington. And I have to say, I didn't really know much about this till Debbie brought me, I think, to one of the last meetings. But I really think, I'm a nurse by trade, so I totally understand with the experience level, we were losing all the experienced nurses, and I kind of think teachers and nurses were kind of on the same kind of plane with that. So I totally understand, but I really think that somehow we have to get this message out. Like, I don't know how you can publicize, because I'm sure there's something in your contract that you can't really say.
We don't negotiate in public, but
Right,
to
but I
get
don't know how we can tell I can tell people I know, but
Right.
I find it's different at this level, like, now she's around Hill Ridge, than when we were at the smaller school.
Right.
Because you don't really see as many people, because it's kind of a drop off and you pick up, but I really think we somehow have to get the message out. I don't know how we can do it, I mean, we can tell our friends, but I think if you start seeing a lot of people coming to these meetings, it's going to make a huge difference. Because I have to tell you by far, Carolyn is 2 years ahead where my two older ones were at the same age. And the teachers, I mean, they email me, I can't tell you anything negative about anybody. I have to say my husband and I are so pleased. It just ended up, we ended up moving to Mahwah 9 years ago. And I just wanted everybody to know, all you teachers, that, you know, we just think it's fantastic. And I have something to inherit. When I grew up in the Bronx, we went to Catholic school, that's what we thought we should do.
Right.
And I have to say, by far, she's not going to Catholic.
Thank you. Yes, Mrs. Rick.
I have a question. Is there a way that our HSOs could somehow send a message out to the parents to let them know that this meeting is taking place and that we really need the parents there to support the teachers, since the HSO is a homeschool organization and meant to collaborate, to work to
I would say look at your own bylaws to see if you're able to do that through school, because that one I'm not sure of.
I don't think so.
But we will try and get this out. We'll get our PowerPoint up. You know, we're being videotaped, so that'll help.
And we also had, I'm sure you saw today, it was a full-page ad in the Suburban News and talking about the meeting tonight to come, and it also on the bottom said about the Board of Ed meeting next week and the date, so it already is advertised.
It is.
Yes.
That could be a starting point.
Yes. Yes.
I just wanted to say, I have two children. My daughter graduated last year. She's in college. And as you guys were talking about the changes, I've noticed the changes between my daughter's grade and my son who's in the 8th grade. And like you said, I see the detrimental effects as a parent over the changes over these last 5 years. Also, regarding the park exam, I am totally against the park exam, and I've made that very vocally known. Unfortunately, most of the parents I encounter, they think, oh, let them take it, you know, compare the kids, but they don't realize that really it's just a whole money-making business behind the whole test, and how much instructional time that it's wasting. So I would love to see a group together in Mahwah to oppose, you know, what's going on with these tests. And they used to have the gap year testing, so you could get a benchmark, which makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But this testing every year and wasting so much instructional time, I feel bad for you teachers. I think we're hurting the children.
Well, and again, the homeschool organizations, I mean, that's the group of parents who can do things and who can talk about it and spread the word too.
You know, can I just also say?
Sure.
We live less than, 5 miles from Suffern in Rockland County. They were the second highest in the county to opt out of the state exams. Second. I'm an educator as well. In New York, we can't obviously tell our children to have their parents opt them out, but these kids and these parents are educated. They understand what is actually happening. And I think that needs to be done also, because a lot of parents don't understand really what's happening with this park. You know, as a teacher, I know my kid is going to be okay, but in New York, it's like 20% of the teacher's evaluation. Here in Bergen County or in Mahwah, it's different. So I think bottom line is, in order for parents to understand that, there needs to be something done about that as well. Just my opinion.
No, I agree. All right. Thank you very much for coming tonight. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so very much. Please help yourself to some refreshments.
Yes, coffee.
Thank you so much.
That's